It's Love and Radio here on Love and Radio 35 and Social with the amazing lady. Yes, we are live on YouTube as well. So you can always look at us on YouTube and listen to the show as well. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend and share the amazing, wonderful links as well on the amazing platforms we have. So as I said, also we are live on, we're live on YouTube and live here on WNI Radio Online as well. But if you want to call in and also chat to us, you can chat, use the chat function on YouTube, which is also live there. We can chat to you right as we talk here on Dominant Radio. And also, if you want to just call in live and talk to us directly, you can call us on 074 956 36899. I almost forgot the number, Lady B. It's been a minute, isn't it? You know what I mean? I almost forgot the number.
Yeah.
But you can call us live on 074 956 36899. You can call us direct on that number, send a text or call us by WhatsApp as well. The number is +4474 956 36899. Yes, Lady B, welcome to the show. As always, it's always a minute. It's mate, I miss Lady B. I'm not gonna even lie. Ladies and gentlemen, she went away. I don't know. She went traveling the world or something. Who knows? But we got her back here on WNI Radio, back in the studio. As you can see, she's looking live, she's looking amazing, she's looking fly, and she got great things for us today on WNI Radio. So, Lady B, what have you got for us on WNI Radio today?
It's really great to be back. It's been such a long time. How have you been though?
Mate, I've been all right. I've been all right. I've got this thing now. I'm just saying, mate. I don't know where's that coming from. I don't know. Probably this Essex village I'm living in. Who knows?
Possibly.
I
Yeah.
know, I know, but I'm okay. It's been cold past couple of weeks. But
Yeah.
okay, I did travel as well. I followed you traveling for a bit as well. Do you know what I mean? But it's glad to be back on live because everybody's asking me when is he going to be back? When are we coming back online? I'm like, you know what? We're doing a bit of refurbishment, trying to make things happen, trying to make it crisp and lovely for our amazing listeners here. So, Lady B, as I said, it's great to have you back.
Yeah, it's
Love
good to
your
be
style,
back.
man. You're looking amazing. You can fly as well. So
Thank you. So are
what we
you?
what we got for us today on today's show?
So today we're going to be talking about when should status be shared.
Wow.
That's what we're talking about today. Yeah.
I know.
So,
See, like that topic there, yeah. When I'm thinking about it, when you mention it, like I'm thinking to myself, status. Women will be thinking, oh, do they mean like is
yeah.
financial status? Oh,
Yeah.
do they mean like his status at work? No, that's not what we mean. That's not what
No.
we mean. Maybe I mean break it down for us. What are we talking about today then? What
Yeah,
what what
I was actually gonna throw it at you, but since you've thrown it at me first, so we're talking about all of the status, like, the condition of a woman's ability to have children, your
Yeah,
medical status, financial status, and basically just encompasses everything. Because just as you said, when you talk about status, people like ladies would probably think about, financial status, and men might probably think about maybe medical status, but it's like everything. Like,
it is.
when do you share these things?
I know. It's such a very sensitive topic as well, I
Yeah,
think.
it is.
Because a lot of people, I mean, especially in the dating world, as you know, ladies and gentlemen, it's 35 and social. We was talking about, the dating scene. It's 2025. We've been doing this for quite a number of years as well. Things have changed. And today, I mean, Lady B's mentioned something very intense, very, very touchy. I'm sure a lot of people would agree. But the thing is, I totally agree. When should that status be shared? She gave examples there around, ability to conceive a child, any kind of like medical things you suffer, things like health challenges and all of that. But the thing is, we hardly talk about these things
Hmm.
in a relationship. I mean, but from your perspective, like, you know, why do you think it's important to actually disclose this health challenges?
I mean, just as you said, like the world is changing and disclosure has really become a very important part of like our everyday lives, even at work. Like, it's very important for you to disclose certain things. So I think it's important for things like this to be talked about. Just as you said, like, people don't really talk about it. I just like someone, they like me back, and then boom, and then you get to a point where there's no turning back because people just assume that if you're willing to, you know, go the mile,
Mm.
then you're fine. Like, you're fine financially, you're fine medically, but sometimes that's not the case. Yeah, so there's so many reasons, but yeah, we're probably going to discuss that later on in the show.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I couldn't agree more because there's this assumption. People just assume that that everyone is fine.
Yeah.
You meet someone. you always look at the exterior part of it. You never think about what if this person's got a bit of a, do you know what I mean, issue.
Yeah.
But the same question would be like, does it matter? Why does it even matter?
Mm.
Should you even be upfront about your status or in
Yeah.
any degree? I mean, I think there's a degree or there's a level of transparency that's required. I don't know,
Yeah.
is it dependent on the status or is it dependent on the type of status? Is it
Mm.
because when we talk about, I mean, the first example you gave about, the ability to conceive a child, I mean, I think most women would know that because maybe, they've tried in the past or, do you know what I mean? Or maybe not, I don't know. But sometimes, people say, does that matter because of advancements of technology and things
Yeah.
you know, but I think there's some health challenges that are quite important. I think there's some specific conditions that is absolutely necessary for people
Yeah.
to talk about and share. But the thing is, why do people don't, why do we not share this? Why don't we talk about this? Is it fair? Are we scared to lose that person? Or are we worried that okay, if they tell them they're gonna go away? But is it selfish not to?
Mm. That's such a beautiful question. That's such a beautiful question. And yeah, that is so true. Like, it's a question we need to ask ourselves, like, why don't people disclose these things? Just as you said, I think what many people are used to talking about is usually like their genotype, their
Yeah,
blood groups. They don't really talk about deeper things until they've gotten married or like they're in a very serious or committed relationship. So just as you said, like having children or conception, like people don't really talk about those kind of things, financial status, or maybe someone is in debt. They don't really talk about those kind of things because maybe societally we're not really required to, except maybe in certain countries where like if you don't share your HIV status, you can actually be criminalized.
exactly.
So
I mean, yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point.
yeah. So those could be like extreme, but just as you said, there could be so many reasons, probably like fear, rejection, denial. Some people are still in denial. They're like, okay, for example, let's talk about like having children. A
Mm,
woman could assume that maybe it was the person or the partner she was with previously
yeah,
that made it difficult for her to have children. So some people could be in denial about things like that.
yeah,
And
yeah,
people do not understand that these things have consequences when they don't disclose,
yeah.
their status to their partners. It does have, it could have a negative, consequence on the relationship.
It does. I mean, your answer is so packed, and I mean, I want to unpack it. I don't know.
Mm,
Let me start from the most controversial one, about the HIV status. Now, I think you mentioned in countries like there's some countries that have laws in place that states that if you don't share your status, it could be it's a criminal offense kind of thing. I'm not sure here in this country. I'm not sure if
mm,
it's the same. I think maybe it's something we should have possibly checked to verify. But if it's the case, it's not really publicized that much, kind of thing.
mm,
It's not because there's no a lot of awareness around it. But but
yeah.
you know to pack that aside, but the thing here is now we've come into a society, especially with social media, where everything's a bit superficial. Everything is like what you look like. The makeup, the bags, is beige. You know what I mean? All sorts of people, dressing at a very progressive. What's that word? The proactive,
Yeah. Provocative, I think that's it.
provocative. Oh my,
Yeah.
thank you very much. Provocative way. You know, trying to attract people, and you have individuals who call themselves influencers,
Mm,
and do all sorts of things. But now let's look at, okay, you meet a lady somewhere, or a guy meets a lady, they start hanging out, like each other, and sometimes it does happen where you have people doing it on the first day kind of thing, and because of some heat and stuff like that, some
mm-hmm,
people don't think, because they think they're not in a third world country, that
mm,
because I'm in England, I'm in Europe kind of thing, those kind of things don't happen,
yeah.
or those
Yeah.
kind of affections don't happen here. It's almost a mindset. It's almost like this is what people think. But the reality is that's not the case. You know,
Yeah.
don't, when we're talking about HIV now, it's not, I mean, we're not trying to stigmatize anything. We're just trying to shed a bit of light to it. You know, a lot of people don't consider those type of ailments. You know, HIV is one of them. I mean, let's talk about all the
Yeah.
STIs. I can't remember the ones that are very silent killers that people don't even know about.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the mindset is like it's a bit of nonchalant thing. Oh, I know, you know, she can never have it because they look nice, they look all right,
Hmm.
which is really bad. You know, I think what we're actually talking about today. When should the status be shared? I think from the onset. If an individual is aware that they have a very serious health challenge, I think it
Hmm.
should be disclosed right away. To be fair to that individual, to say, what, give them a choice, because
Yeah.
we, here in the West, we are living like nothing is happening, everything is fine, there's no diseases anywhere, no one's gonna, and you just go into it, and before you know it, you've contracted a horrible disease. But the thing is,
Yeah.
social media doesn't help. I know I keep going back to social media, but it doesn't help. It's a one place you go on there, and everything's just superficial because you believe
Yeah.
everything you see. You go out to a club, your lips in a girl, or or a man is lips in a woman you just met on that night.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have no history about this individual. You don't have any history about this individual, and you can just contract something without listening. I mean,
Yeah.
I know, hopefully, listeners, have you ever been in a situation where your partner did not disclose a health issue? We'd love to hear from you. I mean, what are your thoughts on, you know, those kind of serious health challenges, Miss Lady B?
I mean, you said a lot, and that is so true because I've heard like so many stories about people who have, just as you said, in the heat of the moment, they've
Yeah.
got in sexual activities with people on the first date, only to realize that, I mean, what if this person had like a serious
Health challenge?
health issue, and that could have changed the course of my life for forever, just
Mm,
because I acted in the heat of the moment. And you're so right. I think people are a bit more conscious of it when they go to countries that have been stigmatized,
exactly.
to that people
Exactly.
know that, okay, there are so many people in that country that have HIV or that have AIDS. So when you go to these countries, you just stay away from them. But when you're in like the Western countries, it's not very popular, or people are not very aware. Just as you've said, like the lack of awareness, the lack of education
Mm,
about these things, it's just not a reality for many people in the Western world.
yeah,
But it's there, like
it is.
it's there, and people need to be aware. People need to know about them. People need to be educated about them, because just one just one
Mistake.
activity, or just one crush or one like could just change. Yeah, but people are not very, especially in the Western world, in third
Mm,
world countries. Yes, people are a bit careful. Like when you go to that state, when you go to that country, you need to be careful. But what you just like, oh, I mean, in the United States, or I'm in the United Kingdom, those things are not very popular here. Medicine
mm.
is advanced and things like that. Yeah, so it's just it's
Yeah,
it's everything.
it is. I'm going to come back quickly. Again, if you ever been in a situation where your partner did not disclose a health issue, we would love to
Yeah.
you. Numbers 074 956 36899. That's 074 956 36899. You can call us direct on that number, call via WhatsApp, or even send it WhatsApp as well. We are also live on YouTube at the moment as well. So you can also use a chat function on YouTube, and we will be able to respond there as well. I mean, you hit the nail on the head again. Do you know what I mean? You talk about the nonchalant attitude, the lack of self-awareness of, this kind of serious indication. I mean, we're going to touch on other, status, or health issues as we go. But I mean, I think HIV is one of the things that we need to just, get on. There's been a recent statistics. You just, as we're speaking, I just kind of come back to me that there's been an increase in the infections of HIV within the Black community. And,
Mm,
and the reason is because, there's been a large, immigration, people coming in, settling in and coming in. And
mm,
some of them, because of the poor health systems in some
Yeah.
areas or some countries, some of them are not aware of their sexual status. They're not aware of what their status is. So
Yeah.
once they come here with the thought process of the lack of self-awareness of an individual who resides in the UK or resides in Europe, who has a nonchalant attitude and think, oh, nothing like that happens here, kind of thing, goes into a relationship or goes into a one night stand and thinks,
Yeah.
I'm just going to go in without any protection because they
Yeah.
thinking, it's fine. But what's now happening is there's an increase in infections, which is quite challenging. And the thing I find a bit um disturbing about it is there's not a lot of noise being made about it. There's not a lot of you know
Yeah.
things being raised. Or quite, we're not seeing posters, we're not seeing education being made about it,
Mm,
about people educating people that what, use protection kind of thing. Because if it doesn't increase, there is a problem. There is a
yeah.
problem. But the thing is why do people not find, I mean, the time? When is the right time to
Mm.
say to your partner, listen, I need to have a conversation. I mean, when do you think is the right time, Lady B?
I wouldn't say like on the first date because you don't know if that's gonna progress into something serious. But
Right.
I think, but yeah, I think it's very relative.
Mhm.
So for example, just as you said, like there are some infections that you can contact just by kissing a person
Yes.
and it's gonna stay. So some people do that on the first date. Some people will get intimate on the first date.
Mhm.
So I think if it's getting to a point where you know that this person could contact something from you. And that's even if you know your status in the first place. Just as you said, a lot of people don't even know what their medical status is when it comes to these things. But
Yeah.
if it's something that you're aware of, I think you need to tell your partner
Mm.
when something is about to happen, when you're about to get intimate with them. And then they can make an informed choice like, okay, if we're going to do this, use protection, or I don't want to do this. Not just put the person in a position where they don't even have a choice and they have to live with whatever it is for the rest of their life and find a way to get out of it.
Yeah. I mean,
So yeah, I think when you get to the point where you're about to get intimate, then you have to, you know, back up a bit. But some people can't even back up because they're in the heat of the moment.
exactly, exactly. I mean,
So
I like the point you made about, you know, you know, when you know that it's about to, maybe it's going to evolve into something, it's going to evolve into something, a bit more serious, then share it. But the other part you said about, you know, before anything happens, the things
yeah,
you can't even plan these things
yeah,
sometimes.
you can't, you
You can't
can't.
plan these things. But I would say timing is everything.
Mm,
Some people I think would feel that, what, I want to share right away.
yeah,
Others prefer to wait until the relationship becomes serious. Um, you know, but the thing is, when is that right time? Because
mm,
I think as soon as possible.
mm,
Because if you wait, for
yeah,
example, you meet someone today and you guys are talking and it feels like it's going somewhere, and you want to wait till maybe like 2 3 months down the line before you tell them because you like the company and enjoying all of that. I think you're
mm,
in that individual will be putting themselves in a position where they will feel more heartbroken because now they could have invested time, emotions, energy into
yeah,
the relationship, and now they now tell the person and say, "All right, this is what it is." They're gonna, it could go two ways. If it goes the way of like, you know what, no, I can't do this,
yeah,
then you've invested a lot of the time and effort, and you're gonna feel a bit more down. But if it goes the other way, yeah, great. But most times it's just the other way around. So
yeah.
I mean, it is difficult. Uh,
It is.
it, it is difficult in some cases. Most people that have serious health conditions such as HIV, it's not something they plan to have. Some of them have accidentally got it. Some people have been infected without them realizing, or born that way. But the thing is, there's been a lot of medical advancements that's helped to prolong
Yeah.
individuals' lives and things like that. But the thing here is, when should our status be shared? It should be shared, in my opinion, as soon as possible. But
Yeah.
what is the best way of approach? How do you approach that kind of conversation
Mm.
without scaring the person away? You're like you're like someone sits you down, like, I need to tell you something. Um, Bang, and imagine you've already kissed the person. That could
Yeah.
that could be one of the worst things as well. So, not to go down into that way, but when we look at the cultural aspects of things, the personal beliefs, that could help, that could impact when people want to, tell or let that individual know as well. So I think the earlier the better. Okay, now should we kind of, because I'm thinking like maybe we're scaring people with this HIV talk, what they're saying, but it's the reality, ladies and gentlemen. It's the reality. If you're single and you're dating and you're out there, or you're having fun or whatever you're doing, make sure you do it safe. Yeah, do it safe. Don't rush into just trying to get the whatever you're trying to get, because looks can be deceiving. Not everybody that looks nice or looks healthy is healthy in some aspects as well. Do you know what I mean? It's not a stigma. It's just for you to be
Yeah.
aware, because a 2 minute engagement could last for a lifetime. So you need to be careful on how you approach certain situations. Okay, now let's look at more not too intense kind of issues. I mean, you mentioned the inability to conceive.
Yeah.
You know, with that, I mean, do women find it hard to share with their partner, you know, that kind of issue?
Hmm. I think we should throw that out to our colors.
Oh, colors.
Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
do you know, or have you been in a situation
yeah.
where you found it hard to conceive, and you didn't know how to tell your partner? How did they take it, or did you ever tell your partner? We'd
Yeah.
like to find out from you. The number is 074 956 36899. That's 074 956 36899. You can call us direct on that number, send a text, or call via WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp message as well. We're also live on YouTube, so you can also use the chat function on YouTube as well to interact with us. So we're talking about, when should you share the status? When should you share the status? We're not talking about financial status. Well, we're not talking about work status. We're talking about status, things around, health status, which is quite important when you're going into any form of relationship. We've talked about things around the HIV and the rapid spread of HIV in the regions in the West, because a lot of people are very nonchalant about
Yeah.
the possibility of contracting HIV.
Yeah.
Think, I'm in the UK, it's fine. I can't get it. I'm not in some certain countries or third world countries,
Yeah.
it's fine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But again, we leave that question out there. But
Yeah.
the question of the status thing, is it a vital part or vital thing to discuss at the start of a relationship? Because we always get consumed with the euphoria of a relationship. We find lovey-dovey. Oh my God. Oh my, do you know what I mean? It's like, hello. And again, social media does this, isn't it? Babes taking me
Yeah.
to eat, babes doing this, babes doing that. But what do you know about that person? Everyone is
Mm.
focused about how much is in your bank account, what designer you're wearing, what bag you're wearing, what cologne you're wearing, what perfume you're wearing. Lady, when should we be having this conversation about status?
Mm. A very great question, actually. Like, that's really good. But just as I was saying, I think it's very relative. I don't think I, as a person, if I were in that position, I want to disclose that on the first date.
Oh,
Although I agree with you and I understand why it's important to discuss that on the first date, because sometimes you could find yourself in a position where, you can't even take a step back at that point, and then things just happen. So I can understand why you want to do that immediately, but also you don't even know if this person is going to be there for the long term. You
Mm,
don't know if, you're going to meet someone else. Like, you don't know how many first dates you're going to have. So how many people do you really want to disclose that information to?
mm,
So I think for me as a lady, I would probably disclose it when I know, like, okay, this is getting serious and something could happen.
mm.
That's what I would do. But I could also understand the importance of discussing it on the first date
Yeah.
and, letting that person make a choice, because you don't want to get into a position where, like, you're all caught up in the feelings and you have strong emotions for this person, and it's very difficult for them to make a choice if that's something they want to live with or that's something they want to carry on. And I'll
Uh-huh.
also like pick back on the point that you made earlier. I think a lot of people are very nonchalant about these things, right? Maybe the generation before us, like there was a lot of awareness about it, but I just feel like generally, like, some people would know and still want to do. Like, some people would know and they probably would not even take preventive measures,
Mm.
and that's because there's no proper education
Yes.
about how these things could like change your life. And just as you say, like, we're not trying to stigmatize anyone, but these things are real.
Mm.
And if you live in a place like the Western world where it's just like a myth in your head, like you've
Yeah.
not really
Yeah.
seen people, you don't know people around you that have these viruses, it's not something that people know of. You just think it's a myth. Like, I don't live in a third world country, so it's very
Yeah.
difficult for you to relate with things like that and what the consequences would be. But I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of people in this generation, like, they just want to have a good time. They just want to live their life, and they
Mm.
just feel like, if anything happens, I'll find my way around it. I've got medical insurance, I've got health care. Like,
Mm.
besides, just as you said, like, medicine is advanced in such a way that you could live a normal life even if you contract some of these viruses. So I think a lot of people they're just like, they don't care.
Yeah.
Besides that, it's still very important for
It is.
you to,
Yeah.
let your partner know and give them that choice.
I mean, the word normal, I think, is in inverted commas because you're still on, daily medication. On
Yeah,
daily medication, you have to, possibly avoid certain things and all of that. So it does create some sort of inconvenience in your life. But again, I love the point you made there again. You know, a lot of people are not aware, aware of the
yeah,
consequences.
yeah.
They're thinking, oh, it's fine. I'm in London. It's fine. I'm in
Mhm.
Germany. It's fine. I'm in France. It's never gonna come to me. But the truth
Yeah,
is, listen, it can come to
it
anyone.
could. Yeah,
It can come to anyone, especially if you're very promiscuous. You're out there, doing all sorts. And people don't know that it's not only even HIV. We have things, people kissing each other with
yeah,
sore mouths and things like that,
yeah,
exchange
yeah.
of fluids that's not meant to happen. I'm not trying to scare you, and I'm not saying that some people are engaging in all this funny stuff, but just have a bit of prevention in there. But our
Yeah,
listeners are, they're very docile today. Is it because you've missed us and you haven't seen us in a while? But like now, we've listened to you. We've come live on YouTube as well, so you can see us while we are talking to you and having a conversation to you at the same time. I mean, has your partner ever told you about a serious medical issue? And did it change your feeling for that person? Did you change how you felt about that person? Did you make you love them more, or say, you know what, this is the way out? Because that's another fear, isn't it? That's another fear where people have this fear of like, what if I tell him
yeah,
I really like this guy, I really
yeah,
like this lady, what if I tell her how I feel? What would she,
yeah,
so there's this fear of rejection, or saying,
yeah,
you know should I tell him, should I not tell him? I can't have babies, is that something I should tell him? Oh my god. Oh, I'm addicted to drinking wine every day, is that something I should tell him? Do I need to get, I'm addicted to food as well. A lot of I mean, this is funny
yeah.
sometimes. We always hear people say my love language is food. What does that mean?
Mm.
Like, are you
I mean, they love food.
are you addicted to food or something? I mean, you know,
Possible.
do you know what I mean? All these things, you know, certain states, because when you're addicted to, your love language, are you addicted to food? I'm not saying food is bad, but
Hmm.
too much of it could cause things like obesity, diabetes, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Diabetes and obesity is another thing. you should be talking about, when you meet,
Mm,
you know.
yeah.
But the thing is, like now, all people want
No
to talk about
one.
is,
They
uh,
just want to have a good time.
yeah,
Like,
want to have a good time, and also, what do you do? How much you earning? When we going on holiday? You need to take me out to eat. We need to go
mm,
eat somewhere. Yeah, I need to buy a bag. Hey, can you pay my bills? I mean,
mm,
look at the funny thing. On this show, we talked about a lot of things. In the past. But the thing is, like everything we talk about, yes, it does happen because you have ladies asking, doing this, do that. But the thing is, women, do you also pay attention or want to know about your health, about the possibility of contracting something, or about the possibility of being with someone who has a serious health condition? Can you deal with that? Is that something you can deal with? Because a lot of focus is always on the financial side of things. Was this person financially able to give you? Not saying there's anything wrong with you, you know, um, compromising and saying yes, you want to be someone with a health challenge or health issue. But is this something you've talked about from the onset? I think it's something people need to start having a conversation. It's 2025. The dating rules are changing. It's not about how much you have in your bank account anymore. It's about
yeah.
who are you? What is that status as well? But the thing here is we need to understand as well that I know we've talked about you know, the most serious the STI thing. We talked briefly about the conceiving thing. But the thing here is we should always remember that there's one of the things where on this side of the world is there is support. There's support
Yeah.
for people. And if you're a genuine couple, you've met someone today. I don't know whatever circumstances you met them. Um, Before you have that intercourse, maybe you're treating something, or you have some infection, or do you know what I mean? You have that conversation with them, and they're matured enough to have, to say, okay, what can we do? And that's a true person. There's support
Mm,
on there. You know, Couples can get
yeah.
support, work together, and make things happen. We need to break out from the mentality of not sharing the status.
Yeah.
Be it, forget about the financial status, because finance with no life is nothing. Because everyone is always focused upon the financial status. How much can you buy? How much can you buy? How much can you do? Do you know what I mean? That's what all you're focused on. No, focus on your health as well. There's support out there. So I mean, as anyone, if you're listening, you don't have to tell us your name or where you're calling from, and also you can chat to us on YouTube as well. We're watching live on YouTube. Hello, our YouTube viewers. I hope you're having a wonderful time. Great to have you here. You know, if you ever been in a relationship, and maybe in the past or currently, and you find out that the person had a serious relationship, a serious health issue, how did that make you feel? Did you want to break up the relationship? Did you want to stay, or you wanted to find a way to support each other, kind of thing? I mean, lady, what do you think? Do you think you know in the society? Let's look at the black community, for example. Do we support, or the black community supports, or gives the grounds for people to actually talk about their status or discuss their status? Before you answer the question, the number is 074 956 36899. That's 074 956 36899. You can call us direct on that number, send a text, or via WhatsApp as well. Call us via WhatsApp. Number is 074 956 36899. So, I mean, Lady B, does the black society or the black community allow individuals have conversations around the status?
I'll take a step back because I was gonna add to something you said previously about wanting to share your status with your partner, which ideally that's what, should be done. But I can also understand why someone may be reluctant to wanting to share their status. So for example, maybe you shared it with a previous partner and they didn't take it well, and maybe that person has lost like a number of relationships just because they've chosen to disclose that. Of course, they're going to want to be a bit more reluctant to share with, someone else. So I think that's why some people may not want to. But just as we keep, saying, it's
Yeah.
very important that these things are shared. So back to your question, right? I think it's amongst the Black community, I think so, but I can also understand that there is a certain stigma
Mm,
around sharing these things with your family members.
mm,
Even your family member, there's sort of a stigma around it. They don't want to share things with you, just like you talked about, like if it was HIV, they may be reluctant to wanting to share things with you. They may not want to be around you because some of these viruses or these infections, some of them are not just contacted when you have, intimate
definitely.
relations with someone. Some could be contacted by sharing like spoons or blades or, things like that. So I know amongst the Black
Spoons,
community,
not
there is a
spoons.
so
Maybe sharp objects.
yeah, shot, yeah,
Or
yeah,
yeah. Or if the person has a bleeding gum and you have a bleeding gum, I use the same brush.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, it could be contacted not just from or not just through sexual relations. So there could be a certain stigma if you share that with your family. Like some of them may not want to be around you, or let's say you have a relative that everyone knows the person has HIV and they're telling you like, oh, try not to, there's such a stigma. And some of them are not even medically proven that,
Yeah.
if you do this, you would get it. But, in Africa, right, and I don't mean to generalize, but what I'm saying is something I am aware of that I have experienced, not as a person, but I've seen other people experience,
Yeah.
where it's like the person was stigmatized and the person did not even disclose it, right? The person didn't tell anyone for some reason. um his medical
History.
results,
Yeah.
someone saw it, and that's how everyone in the family knew that. But that person didn't know that everyone in the family already knew
Wow.
about it. But I can see now why that person has refused to share, because if
Mm,
relatives are going there, they'll be like, oh, try not to, let that person's saliva touch you, try not to use their spoon. Yeah, there's such a, so you can understand why people may not want to share it, because at the end of the day, like, it's not a death sentence. You want to
no.
be treated as a person. You don't want to be treated differently for something that you have that may not even have been your fault.
Yes.
So if someone refuses to share, you can understand why, because sometimes when you share these things, they start to see you like someone was going to die soon, or
Mm,
someone, and just as we said, there's not a lot of proper education about it. And even when they tell you that, this person can live a normal life, well, with some inconveniences, of course, and the person is fine. There are certain ways to protect it, or there's
yeah.
certain ways to be careful. They don't want to know that. They
No.
just know that you have HIV, and to them that's like, oh, you have a medical disease or you have an infection, and to them it's just like a life sentence. And some people can be very judgmental about these things. Imagine someone who has, contacted maybe HIV or AIDS from like their parents, and
Yeah.
they had absolutely nothing to do with it. People would just assume that that person was being promiscuous
Mm.
and that's how they've gotten it. But you don't even know their background, you don't know their story. So I can understand why people may not want to like disclose that, and why it can be there could be such resistance or
Mm.
constraint in wanting to share that with, your family in Africa.
Yeah. Your family, your potential partner.
Yeah, your potential partner.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, you touched nerves there. Like, you know what, for that individual, I couldn't um begin to imagine what that individual will be going through. Because
Yeah.
it could be a shattering experience for that individual. And when the questions have been posed to him, and all of a sudden people are now avoiding to
Yeah.
because of lack of education, uh,
Mm-hmm.
around those type of incidents. But the thing here is, the show today, we're discussing when the status should be shared. Would it be if an individual had shared the status by themselves, um, would have given them an opportunity to explain and give a bit more education to the listener or the partner at that point in
Yeah.
time to kind of reduce the the anticipated fallout or the anticipated shock that might happen because you know it can be emotional on both sides. Emotionally, telling someone, I can't conceive children when we get married, or I can't, we can't have, a baby because I'm a sickle cell person, you know, or we can't have, or the chances of us having, a very healthy child because, I'm SS or something, or they, you know what I mean? There's things, it can be emotionally challenging. It can be emotionally, you know, kind of
Yeah.
hard kind of thing. But it's something that needs to be done. It needs to be done. I think within all the societies, they've managed to, I'm not going to kind of point fingers. I think they've managed to remove the stigma of having these type
Yeah.
of conversations, which helps in that individual's emotional state of sharing, what they feeling, or sharing the status because now the stigma has been removed. They're able to share, okay, this is what it is. There's support for us if we want to go forward with this. It's not a death sentence. How can we make this happen?
Yeah.
But again, we're here saying it like it's easy. It's not. It's not easy. It can be hard. Especially in cases where two loved ones are dating and they haven't spoken about maybe their blood type before they got serious. I mean, I've seen that happen on a number of occasions, where, unfortunately, they're both AS, for example. You know, and the chances of having an SS child is almost
Yeah.
is high. It's not impossible to have an AA.
Yeah.
Baby or child, but the chances of having an SS child is a bit high. Not stigmatizing an SS child, but we know that sometimes it can be quite difficult for that child, because of the sickle cell, disease. There, hopefully, I mean, the technology is going forward in eradicating that as we speak. But this type of conversation needs to be had because now, if you don't have that conversation with your partner at the early stage, at your dating stage, this is a dating show, we're talking about dating. You don't have that conversation with your partner, they get to fall in love with you. And at some point, you know, you don't have the conversation 6 months down the line, 7 months down the line, or
Yeah.
before marriage, everything goes helter skelter,
Yeah.
you know.
True.
Everything because like it's thinking, oh my gosh, how are we gonna do that? Do you know what I mean? So it's a bit more pressure kind of thing. So
Yeah.
what I'm saying here is, it's 2025. you know People are still dating, still falling in love, as we know, but let's also focus on what is your status, as in your health status. Do you have any serious health conditions? you know are you ready to be with someone that has a serious health condition? What is your you know um family history on health? Because it saves a lot of heartache down the line. Because
Mm.
now all we want to focus on is what car is he driving? Yeah. um what perfume he or she wearing, where you going to take me for dinner, all of that. But we need to start implementing, this topic. I think we need to even find a help, some health professionals to join us. I think we need to have a part
Yeah,
two
I
of that.
think so as well.
I
Yeah.
It's a very important topic. We can't just have one episode and leave it there because, you know, I'm sure the statistics of you know, uh, this kind of issue, the issue we are touching is quite high.
Yeah.
Because if we look at it as well, we need to possibly even have a relationship expert in there as well. Because some people even get married without realizing what the health status is.
Mm.
Not even taking us to the you know um HIV state. Things as even like compatibility on blood type, which is a very basic one. People don't talk about that anymore.
Mm.
Because now what you want to do, way taking me away. Do you know what I mean? It's quite challenging, and I think it's an eye-opening discussion,
Yeah.
you know, and but we need to know that relationships should thrive on trust,
Yeah.
because it's a form of deceit if
Mm.
you're not sharing
Yeah.
with your partner. And
I was
again,
going
people,
to ask you a question really quickly. Sorry to interrupt. So let's say you have a woman,
yeah,
right? Or you're in a relationship with a woman that basically ticks all of your boxes. Just as you were saying previously, like, women are more concerned about like your financial status, where you
yeah,
taking me, what car do you drive?
yeah,
But I don't think it's the same for men, or at least not all men.
yeah,
So men will probably be concerned about other things. So let's just say that you were in a relationship with a woman that ticks all your boxes, beautiful woman, smart, intelligent, and everything that you like in a woman.
yeah,
And then for some reason, um, she refused or she chose to not disclose her status, whatever that status is. She didn't disclose that to you,
yeah.
right? Um, would you be willing to proceed with the relationship, knowing that that's everything you want in a woman, basically? She ticks all of your boxes.
Mm.
This is your ideal woman. Would you be willing is this something you'd be willing to pursue with that person and, continue with the relationship?
Amazing, Lady B. Great to have you back. This is Lady B putting me on the spot. She's back now, ladies and gentlemen, putting me there. I mean, you know what? I think the first point I will take from that question is, what is that status?
Mm,
What, ladies and gentlemen, I hope we all learn from this as well. What is that status?
yeah.
How serious is the status? We are in 2025. There's a lot of advancement of things.
Mhm.
I would like to know what the status could be or would be, which would allow me make an informed decision
Yeah.
on going forward. Because if I sit here and say, "Oh, she ticks all the boxes," oh, right, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I could, you know what I mean? But what is that status? Is it life changing? Is it something that can be remedied? Is there a remedy
Mm,
for it? Is there a way we can fix it? Because there's certain serious you know health issues where there's almost no remedy for it.
yeah.
And the question would be then, are you ready to commit to a relationship where there's no remedy for this type of health issue? Because we could stay here and say, I mean, I could give you a straight answer and say, oh my god, she ticks all my boxes, she's this,
Yeah.
she's that, she's all of that. Yeah, I'll definitely go for it. But when push comes to shove, like, can you actually do it? you know so for me to answer the question, if you give me an insight and say what the um health issue is, maybe I could be more informed and give you an answer. You know,
Mm.
what would be the health issue?
Um, okay, 'cause I think we've spoken a lot about like HIV.
Yeah.
And if I were to say like, okay, maybe like not being able to have a child, they're like advanced medicine where it's like, people could have
Do you know what?
IVF.
Exactly. With that, for me, she ticks all the boxes,
Hmm.
right? Having a child is a plus because it's a remedy that can be put in place. Do you
Yeah.
know? You can adopt a child, right? You can have IVF. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a life threatening
Yeah.
issue. And she's someone that loves you, that cares for you. She's ambitious, she supports you. Do you know what I mean? It ticks all the boxes. But the thing would be, if it's something that she'd not share with me,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
From the onset, she's kind of like, pushing you on. For me,
Hmm.
as I mentioned earlier, relationships thrive on trust. So with not being able to conceive, for me, no, I am saying this now. Take it to the bank. You know, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't
Okay.
matter because if you say to me she ticks all the boxes, and there's been an exposure, from the onset about, listen, this is me. This is what it is.
Yeah.
I can't, you know,
So the key problem you would have with that is the fact that they refuse to disclose it to you.
at an earlier stage.
Yeah, okay.
Because at some point when you're in a relationship, especially our audience, like 35 and social, going up, do you know what I mean? You're getting to a stage where obviously you want to settle down. Do you know what I mean? You're in your 30s now. One of the conversations that people will be asking is how many kids you want to have, how many children,
Yeah.
what's your family, thoughts and things like that. So at that point, that's when that individual would want to share, you know, this is what it is. But if they decide not to share it, then there's a problem. Then
Mm.
there's a huge problem. Now let me spin it back to you, Lady B. I've learned from you as well. Let's, let's,
Right. Put me on the spot.
let's be honest. So now you talked about conceiving, right? Which
Yeah.
is fine, which is a very regular occurrence. So, but
Hmm.
another regular thing that people don't talk about, which I think is something that people need to talk about, is when we have how do I describe this? Um oh gosh, what was he called now? Um when a man has issues around the reproductive area. I can't remember what it's called now.
Is it
Uh
the low something? Not that one.
say again?
Is it the low something?
No, not
Like,
not a
not
low,
that one.
no, not low sperm count. You can't really know until
Okay.
you do the test. It's no, it's like when um erectile dysfunction.
Oh, okay.
Right. So the guy ticks all the boxes. Yeah.
Mm.
Ticks all the boxes. He lovey dovey's, what I mean, buying you flowers, taking you to those, restaurants you want. Do you know what I mean? He drives a super loopy, lovely car as well. He's moving lovely. Do you know what I mean? He's taking all your boxes. You think about him, you're smiling, look at his picture on your phone, it's like, oh my God, where's this guy? Do you know what I mean? And you find out there's a erectile dysfunction.
Mm.
How do you handle that?
I just knew where this was going. I knew where this was going. Wow, that's a tough question.
Yeah.
But to be honest, like I don't really have a lot of education on erectile dysfunction. I don't know like how severe that is. It like the person can't have a child or they just can't get it up? Which one is it?
I think there are different stages to it.
Okay.
The stages of can't get it up is there, and the stage of getting up for like maybe 30
Enough.
seconds i-
Okay.
is that as well. You know, but there's a how do you look at that?
Okay. So first thing I'm gonna do, just as I said, I don't have enough information about it. Is it like are there medical help
Hmm.
or medical ways to go about it? Like is there a remedy? Is there treatment for it, or is just that's what it is?
I mean, I think in most cases there are treatments for it,
Okay.
but there can be some extreme, you know, of it as well. But I think it's another topic when you actually think.
All
You know,
right. If it was something like, or there are medical ways to go about it, then I mean, it's something that can be managed,
mm,
like we could get help, we could seek medical consultations, if there are treatment, exercises and things like that, maybe like, diet. Yeah, of course. I mean, it's not like a life-threatening thing, and
mm,
it's not like it's something that, cannot be worked on or there's nothing that could be done about it. But if
mm,
it were a situation where there's nothing that could be done about it, like it is what it is, like it's not coming up. So if it's not coming up, then it's going to be difficult to, probably have children.
yeah,
And besides even children, because there are ways to go around that, like you could do IVF, you could
yeah,
do all of that, but like it's going to put a lot of pressure or tension on the sexual life or the sexual intimacy between, myself and that person as a couple or as partners. So something that we're probably gonna have a very serious conversation about
yeah.
and how to, to navigate that. because it's very easy to say, like, yeah, we'll find a way around it and make it work because you love this person. But then when you're doing that for like 4 years, 5 years, and it's, because intimacy with somebody that you love or
Yeah.
that you care about is quite important. And if you can't do that, then that could be a problem. So, um, yeah.
Here's a problem. So would you prefer if they told you earlier, uh, before?
Yeah, yeah, I would definitely prefer if they told me earlier, but I don't really have, I'll probably ask questions about it
Mm,
because I don't really have enough information about it. Yeah, I would prefer if they told me earlier, not
yeah,
like maybe it's gotten to the point where like the relationship has been like 4 years or 5 years or 6 years, and it's like you don't even know what to do with that information because you already,
yeah.
deep neck bottle into
Six,
it. Like,
6 years without no engagement. That's
I'm just saying, whatever that 6 years looks
yeah,
like, it's an engagement, whatever.
yeah,
And yeah, I feel like it could be quite deceitful for someone to hide that information from you,
yeah,
because the thing that's going to be on my mind is like, you've told me everything, or I believe you told me everything. Why did you hide this one information from me? It could come off as deceit, even though that may not have been their intention.
mm,
But yeah, that's what I'm definitely going to perceive it
yeah.
as. If somebody refuses, like, is there more to this thing that you're not telling me about? And that's why you've decided to hide it from me.
On a closing note, there's I don't know if it was a joke or reality, that there's a particular lady that was dating a particular guy. The guy ticked all the boxes. Practically made the woman fall in love with him, like proper fall in love with him. Then they went into the other room. Then they went into the other room and about to engage in the deed, but she needed a microscope to find the engagement
Whoa.
as well. And she started crying. But what can I say? It's been amazing to have Lady B on the show. Back again on 35 and Social. Ladies and gentlemen, do watch out for more amazing shows as well. We're back again tomorrow on Can Expression Sunday with another amazing host as well. So, I mean, today it's been an eye opener, as we said earlier as well. What we talked about today is when should a status be shared? We didn't talk about, it's not about financial status, it's not about your work status. We're talking about far more important things around health, because there are really serious health issues out there where you should know about before you engage or dive into any form of serious relationship. We asked the question, when should you be saying this? When should you be having that discussion? For me, and I think Lady B would agree, that the earlier the better, even maybe on the first day. Do you know what? Because first day, 10 days, 6 days, 6 months down the line, it could still be the same kind of reaction as well. But again, we're not prescribing this is the way you should do it. You know how to do it. You're an adult. You can get it done. This is 35 and Social as well. So relationships also, as you mentioned, thrive on trust and being open about health challenges, which can strengthen the bond than rather than break them as well. I want to say a big thank you to the amazing Lady B, as always, and also to our amazing, lovely guests on YouTube, and also everyone listening online as well. It's been amazing to have you back on the show as well. Yes, welcome back. We're glad to be back as well. Victoria B giving us a high five there. We're glad to be back on the show here on WR Radio as well. Trust me, we've got a packed year going ahead as well. I know you've missed us. We've missed you too. Lady B, what do you want to say to our amazing listeners listening online on the YouTube at the moment?
Thank you for joining us today. We're glad to be back, and we're sure that you're glad to have us back. And just as the topic is about, or what we've been speaking on, it's very important to know your status, even if your partner, doesn't disclose it to you. I think it's also important to ask these questions on the first date. Don't wait for them to tell you. Sometimes, ask them about it, and then they're in the position where they actually have to disclose it. Knowing your status is power. It gives you the ability to know how to, seek for help or support. Yeah, so it's great to have this conversation.
Fantastic. Lady B, you couldn't have said it any better as well. Ladies and gentlemen, wonderful, wonderful to have you on the show here on WR Radio. Hope you had an amazing time with us this evening. Catch us again, back again on the next episode of 35 and Social with another amazing topic from Lady B as always. I love you all. Peace, and we'll be back and see you soon.
See ya.